Hey everyone, welcome back to Hack the Platform, the channel where we dive deep into Microsoft Power Platform, explore real practical solutions for building modern business applications. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe and check out the previous parts of these Power Pages and SPA series. All the links are in the description below. Now, in this part, we'll look at how to start a Power Automate flows from your React single-page applications in Power Pages. Single-page applications are great because everything runs in the browser. They're fast, they're flexible, you are in control of everything. But that also means all your code is exposed. Anyone can open DevTools and see exactly what's going on. So what if you need to do something private, like run a business rule, query Dataverse, or call an external API? That's where you need some server-side logic. And let me quickly summarize a few examples where server-side logic is essential. First of all, sensitive calculations. Maybe your single-page applications estimates a loan or pricing. You don't want those formulas visible in client code. Then external APIs. If you connect to SAP or third-party services that uses API keys, those keys must stay secure. Some business process, some actions like creating a case, sending notifications, writing audit logs, and so on and so forth. So in short, use server-side logic when you need to keep things secure, controlled, and auditable. And today we'll see one way to do that by calling a Power Automate flow from our single-page applications. Let's imagine the following scenario. We want to query a Dataverse for a contact record and its associated accounts. But we don't want to expose the Dataverse tables or give users direct API permissions. We don't want to create API endpoints. This is a rule in many companies that do not want the internal tables to be exposed as APIs. So instead, we'll create a flow that works like a secure web service for us. The single-page application will call the flow. The flow will perform the Dataverse query against the contact, and it will return the data we need safely. The context will be filtered by the user ID, so we are sure that everything will be returned as we want it to. So we will continue using the same React single-page application project from part 3 of this series. If you missed that, the link is in the description along with all the previous videos. You can also download the code for these and all other parts from my GitHub, a repository link below and also in my blog post. We will need the Power Automate. For that, I've already created a flow. The flow is triggered from the Power Pages. It uses a specific trigger. Then it runs a fetch XML query in Dataverse. It filters contacts by the user ID, and user ID in our case is the contact ID. This is the ID of this contact record. It also queries the associated account fields and then returns the first item back to the Power Pages. This is it. That's basically the flow. The compose step we don't need, is just for debugging purposes to see what a user ID, what a site ID, and again, user ID. Nice. We don't need anything else here. Now we need to add this flow into our Power Pages website. So how to do that? We need to open it, the settings of our site, going to the setup, cloud flows. Inside the cloud flows, we can see the flow here. We can either create a new flow or we can add the existing one. We will add the existing one. Now we need to associate this flow with the roles. Only specific user roles or web roles can call this flow. In my case, these are authenticated users only. And you can see already the URL that we will need to use in the single page application to call this flow. Now, the only thing that we need to do is just to update our single page application. I've already created a code for my new page. and also the CSS. And the only thing that we need to do is just to make sure that we can open that profile that is available. For that, we will update our app TSX. We will add the navigation link. We will also add this into the router. A quick explanation what's going on here in the profile TSX. I will not go into details how the data is rendered, but I will explain what we do to make a call. So this is the flow trigger URL. I'm using it here as a static variable, the constant variable. And then I will make a call using the shell.ajaxsafe post method. So this is an internal method from the Power Pages. I'm using the type post. Please make sure that you do not use the content type application JSON. I've tried that and I've had really a lot of problems with it. And then you need also to provide the data. Here I'm providing just nothing, the event data with an empty JSON object. If you do not provide the data, you will also might receive the errors here. So this method is used to make a call and to start the flow. Yeah. Certainly, if you wish, you can rewrite this method, add this into our web API. Meanwhile, I haven't done that yet. I just use it directly. Everything that I used can be found on the Microsoft documentation, how to call the flow. I will also add this link into the description. Yeah. So the flow is called, started, then it will return some data. And later on, I will take this data and then render this data nicely in my single page application. This is it. Okay, so the rest what we need to do is just build the project. Download the website configuration. And upload the code and the site configuration back again. Still do not know what are the errors and what do they mean, but upload is complete. And in my case, everything should work. So let's test it. So first we will check if the profile is visible for the unauthenticated users, and it is not. We see that the flow request failed, error forbidden. I will log in. And I'll query the profile of the authenticated user. As you can see, everything was loaded. I can also see the raw response here. The interesting part is that we can actually open the flow that ran and see everything that the flow acquired as input parameters. So we can here check that the user ID, and this is the user ID, yeah, so this is the user ID, that the user ID is actually the ID of the contact. So if we open our contact and we will look into the ID here in the URL, we will see that this is the same ID. So as an input parameter, user ID is not a user principal name. It is not an email. It is the ID of the contact entity. Okay, so this is it. Everything is working as expected. Let's recap. We learned why server logic is important in Power Pages single-page applications here. We built a Power Automate flow that acts exactly as a secure backend service. Yeah. We integrated the flow into our React single-page application to safely fetch Dataverse data, and in part 5, we'll take the next step and run the true server logic, which is meanwhile in preview, giving us even more control and flexibility for complex enterprise scenario. So don't forget, all the code for this part and every previous part is on my GitHub, and the link is below in the description to this video and also inside my blog post. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Thanks for watching Hack the Platform. See you next time. Bye.